We're not your classic superheroes. We're not the favorites. We're the other guys.
I like these guys. They are funny guys.
For Friday night, August the 3rd, this is the show that used to be called Around Midnight. I say that because we got a comment from a longtime viewer last Friday night saying, why do we still call it Around Midnight when we now go on at 10 p.m.? So, Roxy, just for you, tonight we're the show that used to be Around Midnight, now at 10 p.m. We are the Local Boys. I'm Joe Carbonetta. I'm joined by...
Do we have to have that long title?
No, it's just for tonight. I'm joined by the antagonist slash negative personality, Chevelle Devine,
Wow.
and Todd Fluker over there.
The negative personality.
Well, you know, he's always complaining about something. It's like, that's a long title. Do we have to call it that?
Or
Why do you
we
always talk so long?
We gotta get one of those.
Don't you ever
symbols.
breathe? And
We gotta make a symbol if we're gonna be formally known as Around Midnight.
it's just for this Friday night. I was doing it to humor a viewer. Well, just out of curiosity, what would the symbol be?
I don't know.
Toilet. That's kind of just what's on my
Yeah,
mind right now.
Like an @ sign dropping into a toilet.
I'm sorry. Why are you thinking about toilets?
my bubbles in my belly. Some of that bad McDonald's salad. Are we gonna get sued if I say that?
No.
Okay.
That's really in the news that there are people suffering from some kind of bacterial infection or parasitic infection. So, anyway, yeah. We are live, if you're watching tonight, on Friday, the August the 3rd. If you want to join the conversation, you can always give us a call at 951-356-6882, or join us on the Facebook chat, or tweet us at Joe Carbonetta, at Todd Fluker, at Chevelle Devine. Like us, friend us, share us, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and then check us out at Mixified.com.
Share the live feed. Make sure all your friends know how cool we are and how cool you are for listening. Pew pew.
Okay.
The pew pews are what really, they put it over the top. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Pew pew.
Todd, Chevelle, you feel? I didn't. Few people know this, by the way, but I have a regular office chair, and Todd has a regular office chair, but Chevelle actually sits on a stool. He's actually got a toilet for a chair back there.
A throne.
A throne. There you go. Yeah, that's a what model is that?
I'm not that into toilets. I couldn't tell you.
Oh, I mean, is that like an American Standard, or is that a Toto or something?
I think it's a
know.
Flushmaster 5000.
Flushmaster. There you go. Okay. All right. Wow.
Top of the line.
It's one of those
Top
golden
line.
Trump toilets.
Gold leaf.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All
It's pretty
right.
heavy.
It is.
Yeah, and it can take a ton of crap.
Ooh.
Well, I thought he gave a ton of crap.
That's why they take
Does
so
it, like,
much.
back up?
Did you get it on discount like when Trump University went out of business or something?
No.
Trump Steaks?
Yeah, no.
Trump Magazine?
The sad thing is this list goes on and on and on.
His list of failures is unending.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, moving into... It's funny because we do have a lot to talk about with Trump, but moving into current events, have you guys been keeping abreast of the news? Did you hear about this poor guy who gets dragged... Really? Who gets dragged off the Metro Blue Line train after we find out after the fact that he actually suffered a seizure. But apparently he manifested some symptoms of a seizure, something like that. He apparently even may have thrown up and then blacked out on the train. And so at the first available stop, this guy in a suit drags him out of his seat, down the aisle, and off the train, kind of tosses him on the platform, goes back in, grabs his bags, throws them out, and then gets back in the train because apparently he doesn't want to be delayed waiting for the paramedics to show up to check this guy out.
Yeah.
Now, other people got upset. They went out and checked on this passenger. Oh, by the way, when this guy got dragged out of the train, his pants got pulled down. and somebody was videoing all of this, so it's actually available on online.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's pretty much everywhere now. But this guy had staples in his head. Like, evidently he had some kind of surgery on his head, leading one to believe that may have been what caused the seizure, or could have been what caused the seizure.
Yeah, we got an article up here from something called theroot.com.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Long Beach police investigating video of white man dragging unconscious man off the train.
Yeah, now of course this has immediately been turned into a race issue because the guy who in the suit is white, and the gentleman who the victim in this case we'll say was black. And I'm not saying this wasn't a racial issue, but it may be a rush to judgment. At the very least, this is depraved indifference to somebody who was, seriously in need of help.
It seriously doesn't help that guy looks like a Bond villain.
Yeah.
He looks like he should be stroking a cat and saying, "Mr. Bond, struggle all you like."
Go!
You should play the Bond theme under that.
That would be good. Or maybe this one would have been better.
Excellent.
But evidently, people on the train were so incensed that this guy had done this, and then was sitting there saying or trying to suggest that there were other people on the train who did not want to be delayed by waiting for the paramedics. He then went out and feigned concern for the victim and tried to check for a pulse.
I don't
and
know
kind
that
of
you
thing.
could say feigned.
I mean, if this guy was genuinely concerned with the well-being of the individual he dragged off the train, his first impulse would have been to drag him off the train and leave him there. He didn't even get him across the yellow safety line to clear the moving trains.
He could literally say whatever he wants. He could say,
Yeah, I just
feigning.
And again, why am I always the one defending the buttholes? I guess as the resident butthole, I feel the need to stand up for other buttholes.
Did he just call himself the resident butthole?
Yeah, you guys always trying to play it safe and whatnot. But
we're finally hitting on the truth. Let's dig down.
No, I just, and I'm not saying I never do it. It's just when you attribute
Oh,
motives
man,
to people, that's
now,
dangerous.
now what I wish I had was the Family Feud music. This would be great, And no,
I just think that it's possible for a person to have a change of heart.
Describe Chevelle. Well, we polled 100 people and asked them what words come to mind when you say Chevelle. Survey said resident butthole.
Yeah, because seriously, looking at this video, you see this guy taking his belongings and just tossing them out, like with
Well, there is absolutely no doubt that this guy has a complete disregard for his fellow
what
human
happens
being.
to this guy specifically.
It's totally disrespectful, pretty much totally unwarranted. It's just all around bad behavior.
I mean,
Oh, no question.
Yeah, he spoke the truth at first. He was like, "Hey, I'm just trying to get home. I don't want to wait around for the paramedics."
Well, we talked about this.
That's about the long and short of it.
Yeah.
I don't know that it has anything to do with the guy's skin color, or they say he did throw up, and he says later in the video something like, "Oh, I thought he was drunk."
Yeah, they thought he was drunk.
That's not an unlikely thing to happen on
However,
the train.
leaving the guy lying on his back like that, if in fact he was intoxicated and throwing
That's
up,
a
he could have then
dangerous thing.
aspirated on his own vomit and died. So, again, not making this guy in the suit look good at all.
No.
Yeah, he's no doctor,
Yeah.
He's no saint. He's no nothing.
as he specifies.
Yeah, and now it is possible that he may be charged with assault. And he can't even shield himself with Good Samaritan laws because he clearly did nothing in this guy's
that was the
best
point that I was
interest.
going to bring up, because you have people who do get sued. It doesn't happen in the U.S. because we do have a Good Samaritan law. But
Oh, no, they still get sued.
There
People
are,
still
yeah,
get
they still get sued, but
Oh,
there
yeah.
are some protections in place for that.
Yeah.
But
Were we talking about the Good Samaritan
yeah,
laws?
like when you watch some of these other countries where there was one. I don't know if we ran it, but like if you in some of the Asian countries, Indian countries, when somebody gets injured, they will literally leave them there lying in the street.
Yeah, nobody wants to
and
touch him.
wait for the authorities to show up because they don't want to be charged with anything.
Right.
And I honestly don't think the U.S. is far behind. I mean, clearly, we're seeing that now, where people just they don't care about people.
I feel like that's something that we're seeing a lot more of today. Like, I don't think that kind of thing would have flown by a couple of years ago. Like, yeah, literally this guy's just like, I want no part of anything that's happening here. I'm just trying to get home. I'm tired, yada yada. I want to get out of here.
This is part of where, and I get accused of being duplicitous. It happened earlier today, actually. But this is it's kind of like the world star mentality.
The world star
World star
mentality?
hip hop. Yeah,
Okay.
people will wait for all hell to break loose, and rather than try to stop it from happening, they'll whip out their cameras, record it, and post it, and try to get hits.
Well, yeah, that's because then they will turn around and use it to make a buck. It's all
Yeah,
about their own self-promotion.
exactly.
It's-
But the point being that they are so emotionally detached from the situation and so completely disregarding the health and welfare of anyone, including themselves in some of these situations, that they're willing to do something like that.
Which leads one to wonder. Although, and I will say this, the person that recorded the video, I think actually did get off the train to check on the welfare of the down individual. But like you say, 90% of the time they just pull out their cameras,
Yeah.
and then they're suddenly bold enough to confront them in front of the camera. Because they'll turn around and try and sell it to the first news agency that's willing to bid on the material.
And at the same time, you kind of do need that evidence.
Yeah, it comes in handy. I mean,
You want to document that kind of thing.
yeah, you see that that big fight that broke out at McDonald's.
Which big fight was this now?
Yeah, come on.
That one last week. Did we show that
Yeah.
last week?
We mentioned
Was that the one
it.
that we talked about last week? Okay.
Yeah,
Man, people are crazy, man.
people are in fact crazy.
I thought
Anyway.
you had this ready to go, Todd. I was,
Yeah, I know.
we were sitting there
Yeah,
waiting
that
for you to
wasn't
just
a-
like
that
throw
wasn't a
right to
good
this.
Yeah,
and-
don't worry about it. Point being that people are messed up. I mean, people can see. We could, throw
Well,
the link in the
Todd
chat.
brings up an interesting point, though. He said that this wouldn't have happened just a couple of years ago. Could this have anything to do with the current White House administration?
I don't think you can say that because World Star
Oh, is this the
precedes the
video?
White House situation.
Oh, I think Todd almost had the video. Does it really? So
Yeah.
this is the video, Todd, of the
Yeah.
beat down at McDonald's?
Beat down. Look at this little spindly chick trying to step to husky girl. Let's call her.
Yeah.
getting
And then
Oh,
look at
man.
this. Look at this.
That's like Happy Meal
And
trying
then
to
this girl's
take
trying to
on-
help
Yeah,
her.
spindly girl. Oh, they cut it.
Happy Meal tries to
Lame.
take on double quarter pounder with cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a weird edited version of it, but yeah, this
Yeah,
is.
people can find it. It's on there. Just put McDonald's fight. But I kind of have a problem with
McBeatdown? Is that what that's called?
people because
beat down with cheese.
this type of thing is kind of like what happens when people witness crimes and then they don't want to testify, so people can literally get away with murder. And this is the type of behavior that allows that kind of thing to happen. And I just can't co-sign that kind
Well,
of behavior.
that's I think I've said it before. That's why the last thing you want to say is if something's happening to you, you don't say help. You say fire.
yeah.
Because
then people respond.
nobody's going to come help you. Nobody wants to get involved with anything. If you say rape, if you say help, I'm being mugged,
Okay.
the last thing somebody wants to do is get in the middle of that.
Oh,
But if you
okay.
say fire,
Then everybody just runs
everybody
the other way
wants to come
anyway.
see no, people want to come see a fire.
Oh, that's the logic in this.
Oh, definitely. People are
Okay.
going to want to come check it out.
I see.
Yeah.
All right.
So you always yell fire. You never yell help.
That's a
It's
sad situation. man.
Proven fact.
This is
Government study.
Government studies.
This is an
so
interesting theory right here. Yell fire. Let's see. This is today's handy helper tip on around midnight. Yell fire when you need help.
many. Danielle's jumping in on the Facebook chat. She says, "You don't know what happened before she got mollywopped." But,
Hey, look. I mean,
I think the
I've gotta-
story went that the husky chick worked at McDonald's and the other chick, the spindly chick,
Woman.
who is apparently a stripper. This has come
this
out.
gets better by the second.
This is why I know so much about this story because I heard
'cause
she was a
the
stripper.
That,
so I had to look her up on
that piqued your interest
Instagram.
right there. Stripper? What? Huh?
You can find her on Instagram. She's got
Okay.
some nice pics on there.
Uh-huh.
But she apparently was trying to fill up her water cup with soda. And
Wow.
the employee did not cotton to that.
The employee being double quarter pounder with cheese.
Yes, double quarter pounder
Man,
did
it's
not
so
care.
disrespectful, you guys. That's my place.
She did
and
not
you guys
care
are
for
taking it to the next
McChicken
level.
trying to get
Chicken nugget.
McChicken nugget trying to get soda in her water cup. So she said, no. And McChicken Nugget decided to clap back, as the kids say, and throw her
Wow.
milkshake at double quarter pounder.
Wow.
And she was not having it.
Wow.
Really pisses me off to no end.
Well, I mean, if you are in a situation where
And then
like
she
you're a
said-
McDonald's employee,
She said,
Bye, Felicia.
Okay, so here's one thing, because there's a couple of like really graphic videos about fights that go down in restaurants, like fast food ones in particular. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's this one where a couple of girls get up and they just start going in on this guy behind the counter. What they did not know is this guy had just gotten out of jail, and this was the job he was able to get. So my point being, you don't know who you're dealing with on the other side of these counters. And in life in general, you don't know these people. You don't know their backgrounds. You don't know what kind of day they had. You might be catching somebody else's butt whooping that day. So it's really best if you just hold your mouth.
Well, going back to that particular incident, what happened to the...
He beat the crap out of them. Because they were trying to come over the counter. And he's like, okay, bring it. Went and got a pipe. It was bad.
And of course, he ended up right back in prison, too, because it was a parole
violation.
violation.
All of it was on camera. He kind of couldn't argue self-defense. It's pretty bad.
Wow.
It's pretty bad. But you can't.
Todd, what are we
you can't
looking
mess
at?
with people like that.
This is Chicken Nugget?
Yeah, this is Chicken
Are you really
Nuggets,
going to go to Chicken Nuggets?
I don't know if we want to put that on
Instagram feed.
Oh,
yeah,
my
we
goodness.
definitely do.
Ugh.
See, she's got the pic right up there. She says, "Yep, that was me in the McDonald's fight. I had to handle my business."
No, you got your business.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not sure she came out on the...
And she's certainly got her business out here. Whoa.
Okay. All right, that's
and
enough
on
of
that
that.
note, hopefully my kids aren't watching.
Yeah, seriously. I think
It's Instagram. It's as they say, SFW.
Which is...
Safe for work.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Sure it is. Okay.
Well,
wow.
thank you for that.
Yeah.
Danielle, it just commented you on being thorough with your research, and then you pulled that up.
Well, he was being thorough, all right. I don't think
Ridiculous.
anybody can argue that he wasn't being thorough. Anyway, I think it's already time for us to take a break because unfortunately we're running behind schedule this evening due to some technical difficulties here in the studio. But this is Around Midnight for Friday, August the 3rd. You've got the local boys right here. I'm Joe Carbonetta. I've got Chevelle Devine. I've got Todd Fluker. And we are live, so give us a call, 951-356-6882, or at least join us on the Facebook chat. Danielle, hello to you tonight. Thanks for watching, and I hope there's a lot of other folks there too, but please continue to watch. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break. Around Midnight is a production of Mixified Media Solutions. Mixified is a full-service multimedia production company. From boardroom to broadcast, whatever your production needs, Mixified is your solution. Go to Mixified.com, that's MIXAFIED, or call 951-356-6882. Mixified Media Solutions. All right, we're back right here on Around Midnight. You've got the local boys. Todd Fluker's over there. Chevelle Devine and myself, Joe Carbonetta. Notice how I did that in reverse, coming back from the break? See, we went out one way, come back in the other. It was that was cool, wasn't it?
I had totally didn't even know.
This
That's
requires
just how my wife told me to do it.
skill, people. This requires skill. This is why you shouldn't attempt to do this at home. Because it couldn't possibly be any worse than this. Anyway, we are live, 951-356-6882. That is the number to call us at if you'd like to join the conversation tonight. And it's already an interesting discussion. We had to cool Todd off during the break after he pulled up that last bit of footage, which, as I understand, has somehow become the thumbnail for the show.
Yeah. That's the most unfortunate.
Anyway.
Or is it?
I don't know. This might be like that one episode we have on YouTube that has the most hits.
Oh, yeah. What was that? The one with porn in the title or something like that? Yeah.
Or something we like to refer to as clickbait.
Clickbait. That's about the size of it. Okay, well,
Yeah, we need to start putting butts as our thumbnail. That's how you get the clicks, the click-clacks.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Speaking of butts, let's go with...
In the news.
Oh, this is going to take forever.
So, earlier today, a federal court judge has ordered the DACA program to be reinstated. What they said was that the Trump administration killed the program for no good reason and needs to put it back together again, almost effective immediately. The federal government now has till the 23rd of August to appeal this ruling. Otherwise, the ruling goes into effect and DACA needs to be reinstated right away. What do you guys have to say about that one?
I mean, we saw this coming, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't
There was
think anybody
little-
in their right mind can rationalize why he shut that program
I
down.
totally can rationalize.
There was
why he
little
shut that
chance of
program
it actually like staying that way.
Yes, wait a minute. Survey said resident butthole.
down. No, I mean,
As with everything Chevelle says, it's completely false.
Oh.
my problem, it's a wonderful program. I understand the sentiment, but I just don't know that it works. And I'm guessing you have to try it for a while to find out that it works. But
Well, if you listen to all the vocal proponents of it, it's apparently been working relatively well. I mean,
How could you say it doesn't work?
yeah, I mean,
I'm not
who
saying
is
it
actually
doesn't.
coming
I'm
out
saying
against
I
it?
don't know that it does.
Besides ignorant people like Trump that are just, I don't even know what the purpose of him cutting it was. I'm sure he
Simple.
had some.
He hates Latinos.
Yeah, I'm sure he had some asinine reasons about, cutting unnecessary government spending when he's really just trying to give kickbacks to his old boys club or something like that.
I don't think it has anything to do with kickbacks at all in this case. It has to do with a promise he made to his base that he was going to deport all the illegal immigrants. And these people were given, they came in technically illegally, but were given a pass, if you
Amnesty.
will. Yeah, they were given temporary amnesty. And Trump
But were
said,
they?
we're going to get rid of all these people.
How does this temporary amnesty work? Like, what were they given? Were they given some tangible document that says, hey, you're a dreamer, you can stay, or what? What were they actually given?
They were given the DACA program. They were actually
I
given
understand
papers
there's a
that said they
program.
could stay in and get their education.
Okay. And then what, though? Because I know people who were in this situation.
Beyond that, I don't know. I guess in theory, during this time period, they could do what was necessary to seek a permanent resolution to the problem, i.e., going through the process of either naturalizing or at least becoming legal permanent residents.
And then that's where the problem comes, because I don't think that that's happening. And I don't know that it's because they're not trying, but I certainly believe that the bureaucracy would prevent that from happening.
Well, I do think, there is an issue with trying to stay in the country after your education is complete.
Yeah.
But I know there are many companies that will sponsor you becoming a citizen if you're, you present certain skills and things like that. Doctors, engineers, nurses, whatever it is, the company needs, whatever said company is.
Well, then the
They
problem
can
with that,
sponsor
though, is
that kind of thing and, kind of grease the wheels of bureaucracy.
I don't think they're doing that. And I
You don't
Well,
think
okay,
who's doing that?
okay.
I don't think
What
the
does that
businesses are
even
doing
mean?
it. I don't think the businesses are sponsoring that many people from the DACA program.
Well,
but
how
what
many
I do
people
know,
are they supposed to sponsor?
I don't know.
if in
What I'm
fact,
saying
Well,
is,
what are you talking
what
about?
I'm saying is that those same businesses are more likely to go outside of the country and import people. Because ultimately, for a lot of these companies, it's about being able to control a population. And that's my fear with these people specifically. You're telling them, hey, we're gonna give you a chance to prove yourself, when in reality, the government really has no interest or has any real motivation to either legalize them or anything else. Like, I would love to see that happen. I'd like to see that become a reality. But then the reason why the government won't do it is because it will actually inspire more people to do that same thing.
well, if in fact the problem, as you see it, is that there is no path to permanent residency post DACA, then the solution is let's just trash the program
No,
instead
I'm not saying the
of
solution is let's
streamlining.
trash the program.
Instead of streamlining the process to become a legal permanent resident, instead of fixing that,
No,
it was
all
easier to
for
trash
fixing
the
that.
program.
I'm 100% for fixing immigration. The problem with me is, and I think
And
a
there
lot,
are many.
I think a lot of the reason that people think that I'm insensitive, it's not really an insensitivity. It's basically a numbness and an apathy, because I've been hearing the same crap for so long from all these politicians. They put out rules and regulations that make you feel like they're doing something when in reality they're just finding better ways to do nothing at all.
Did he just
That's the same
say
way
that his problem was apathy?
Yeah, well, I am apathetic to the situation.
You realize you are a
yes.
walking contradiction because in one
understand.
breath you have said you hate apathy, and then you just said, I'm apathetic.
Yes, absolutely.
So you hate yourself.
I have problems with it, yes. My point is this, though.
Well, who
They
doesn't?
they have created an institutionalized system where you basically are creating an indentured servitude because they can't go back to their country because you have people that are born in the U.S. to illegal immigrants, you have people who were brought over when they were children. They were born in the U.S. They are citizens.
Right.
You have people that are born in the country, raised in the country, only country they know, go through everything, fluent in English, might be stellar, graduates and whatnot, the whole 9 yards, but that paper gets in the way. And DACA is a solution for that, but just like every government program, the implementation just always falls short. And I'm not saying that I have a solution. I'm not saying Trump's solution was the right solution. I don't believe that to be the case. I just wish they would stop talking about fake solutions and just do something real.
Well, I've said for I don't know how long we've covered issues of immigration on this show since we went on the air with this show
20 some odd years ago.
20 some odd years ago.
And they
I've
still
said
don't do anything. That's
all
why
along,
I can't. That's part of the reason, and I've said this before, that's why I can't get mad at Trump. He's inherited an age-old problem.
We need to streamline and fix the system
So how
that
do you
allows
do that?
people to come into the country and become legal. Because the argument has been over and over again, well, these people come in and they avail themselves of all of our public services and they return nothing, which, by the way, is not true. Most
That
of
is
them
not
work
true.
very hard, and they even pay taxes because they want to do everything by the book with the hopes that someday they will become legal.
And actually, one of the ways that they supposedly are supposed to be able to streamline that process is going to join the military.
Yeah, and they've gotten
Military
that
was
rug
supposed to be a
pulled out
path
from
to
under them too,
citizenship.
which again I think is something that is completely broken because if you put on the uniform for this country, you should be given all the rights and guarantees of a citizen.
And this is my point. They're creating an indentured servitude. You're creating people, and it's a carrot. They're saying, oh, yeah, you can be a citizen, but they're not executing that last piece of the puzzle.
So you think the way to solve that is Trump's solution?
No, I do not think the way to solve that. But
you
just,
think that's,
just to
quote,
put this kind
better
of in
than
perspective,
nothing?
just to put this in
Or-
perspective, because we're talking about bureaucracies, and this is a discussion that we've had before, because we've talked about how when you go to take a driver's test, you've got books in 45 languages, and you're saying English is the language of the nation. They should just be in English.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're streamlining the process, does that mean that you're not going to do all of those different languages? Because then that's making it harder, because you're not making it easier
Well-
if you're not providing them with materials in their native tongue.
And to that I say, if I drive down the street and I want to find a particular street or a freeway on-ramp or even know what the speed limit is, are those signs printed up in 14 different languages? No,
Well,
because
it depends on where you are. You
if
drive
they
through
were-
Monterey Park or Alhambra, you got at least a couple of languages.
if
I
they
can't read a
were,
lot of
you
those
wouldn't be able to
signs.
see anything. There would be no, you wouldn't see buildings, you wouldn't see businesses, you wouldn't see anything but street signs. They're all printed only in English.
Not all of them. There's
Wait.
a lot of signs that are printed both in English and Spanish. Not street
Traffic signs?
Not street
Yeah,
signs.
we're
Where?
talking
What are
about
you
traffic
talking about?
signs.
You're talking about the taqueria on the corner?
Now you're making me hungry.
Businesses can they can print whatever they want as far as their name is concerned or anything like that. But I'm talking
about?
about
My whole
I'm
point
talking about
is-
driving down the 210 or the 405 or the 710 freeway, and I look up at a street sign that's telling me that there's a traffic ahead because of an accident, or that I need to take this lane for an interchange to the
I have
other
actually
freeway.
seen that yellow flashing sign on the freeway in Spanish before.
You have.
I don't remember what
Were
it
you
was
driving
for.
close to the border?
No. Okay, but now here's a situation. I think part of the problem is a lot of people are romanticizing this whole idea of naturalization. And they're doing that because back in the 40s and 50s, when you had people who were coming back from World War I, World War II, immigrants coming to America because basically America destroyed their countries, which is the same reason a lot of these people are coming from some of the South American countries, Middle Eastern countries. America has essentially gone in and destroyed some of these countries, their economies, and planted fake politicians in so they can control them. But it's not the same type of place. I mean, those people came over, learned the language, worked, sweated, and a lot of times maybe died without ever having realized citizenship, but their children got a chance. But those children were born in the U.S. The problem we have now is that people are a lot easier it's a lot easier for people to travel. People are a lot more transient. They're a lot more mobile. So when you've got people crossing the border hundreds at a time, frankly, that's a problem.
Unless they're more mobile, unless you're flying Aeromexico. Did you
Not
guys?
sure how to treat that.
Did you guys see that?
No.
Oh yeah, that was all over the news last night too. That there was an Aeromexico flight trying to leave Mexico. It went down the runway. It took off. It became airborne, and then was slammed back to the ground by a gigantic gust of wind because
Wow.
they were trying to take off in a storm.
Huh.
And the thing skated on its belly across the runway, ripped off both the engines, kind of peeled off the top of the aircraft somehow or other. The whole thing caught fire. Amazingly, all 140 passengers got off the plane in one piece. The pilot was the most severely injured. But as of today, some guy in Chicago's already filed a lawsuit against Aeromexico because he says they should not have attempted to take off in that kind of weather.
Well, sounds true. Sounds true enough.
Well, the parallel that I wanted to make was one that came up in my hometown in Pasadena, and that's the issue of sanctuary cities.
Okay.
And we've talked about this before. What does it mean if you're a sanctuary city? Are you going to actually have your police department stand at your borders and stop the ICE from coming in, stop the Homeland Security from coming in?
No, I believe
mean,
it's
how
been
does that
pretty
work?
well established that basically sanctuary city is akin to don't ask, don't tell.
But
We don't know you're illegal. We don't want to know you're illegal, and we're not telling anybody you're illegal.
My point being, that was not a good policy. Don't ask, don't tell. It was not a good policy. And neither is the whole idea of sanctuary cities. It gives a false sense of hope. And we saw that happen because some of these sanctuary cities became targets for raids on immigrants.
Yeah, again, because Trump then turned around and said, oh, yeah, well, if you're not going to tell me, I'll just, I'll just take my toys and go home.
It doesn't matter who's in office. Every one of those people, every single president we've had since, I would say, Bush 2 for certain. Since 9/11, Americans have steadily given more and more and more power to these people. And that was one of the reasons why I didn't like it
these
back
people?
the,
Who are
the
these people?
presidents, primarily the executive branch.
Ah, okay.
And we're starting to see now what happens when you put a tyrant in that position and give them all the authority that you wanted to give to this benevolent leader that everybody believes Obama was. When you get a tyrant in that position and they're pulling the other direction, this is the kind of thing you're going to get. And the sad thing is, Trump is not the worst. And frankly, if we get somebody who's further to the left, it could be even worse than that.
So then instead of people dragging you off the subway when you have a seizure, they'll just shove you off the train because they want your seat.
While it's moving.
Yeah, evidently so.
Danielle's
you ever
jumping
seen,
in on the Facebook chat.
Snowpiercer?
Oh, yeah. That's a good movie.
I mean, that's where it's headed, man. That's a hell of a
Well,
commentary on
they
America.
do actually say bug protein is where it's at nowadays. It's a
I'm just saying.
very
Have you seen it?
sustainable.
I hesitate to recommend it because it's pretty graphic for a kid
It's a
movie.
good movie.
It is.
Okay,
It's a
Captain
solid
America's
commentary.
in it. You know, I'm sure it's on Netflix.
what was Danielle saying?
Danielle jumped on the Facebook chat. She's saying you cannot make policy based off of antidotes.
I think she meant anecdotes.
She said antidotes.
Wait, did she say antidotes or antidotes?
Antidotes.
Yeah. She's right. You can't make policy off of anecdotes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
true.
know what that means. Anyway, Snowpiercer, great movie. Captain America's there. It's the future. The world is covered in ice.
It was a pretty good movie.
And they're on a train, and that's the only place people can live. Otherwise, you freeze to death.
Okay, well, moving on, and speaking of boneheaded policies
People are eating bugs.
by the Trump administration, have you guys heard that the Trump administration wants
The
to-
rich are living off the backs of the poor.
they want to take back control from California as far as their clean air policy is concerned. You know, concessions were made to California many, many years ago, in the late 70s, early 80s, because we had at the time had a really, really bad
It was really bad.
smog and air quality problem
yeah,
here.
you watch some of those old episodes of Chips. You see the LA skyline. It looks like crap.
Orange, yeah. I mean, I remember when I was a kid in school. I remember
Yeah,
we would go
smog
out.
days.
Oh yeah, they were every day with the weather reports. They would give you the traffic, the weather, and the smog. What stage alert we were going to
Yeah.
get for smog? It was either 1, 2, or 3. There was never a day we didn't have some kind of a smog alert. It was just a question of what stage it was. 1 was bad, 2 was worse, 3 was pretty much you're gonna die if you
Don't go outside.
Yeah. Oh, and they literally would not let us go outside at a stage 3 smog alert. We were not allowed to go outside and play. Most days you'd go out, and I remember this because one of my favorite sports as a kid was kickball, and we'd go out and play. And by halfway through the lunch
Recess.
period, we played kickball mostly at lunch because recess you only have like 10 minutes or so. It wasn't enough time to get a game going. By the time you got through picking the team, they were already sending you back in. But you
You
know,
got to pick your teams in class.
yeah, halfway through the game, you're sitting there going. I mean, and I never had asthma, but it hurt really badly to take a deep breath. I mean, you couldn't.
It was pretty bad well into the 90s.
Yeah, and that feeling would last for the rest of the afternoon. So anyway, California was given concessions. They were allowed to start making some of their own policy in terms of clean air, which is why for many, many years, if you went to buy a vehicle, you could buy them outside of the state, and they had different emission standards than buying a car in the state. They were more expensive here in California because we were the ones that instituted the requirement for catalytic
Extra
converters.
mufflers.
Yeah, you know, the downstream oxygen sensors. We were the reason that onboard diagnostics 2 came about. All of that stuff was born out of legislation here in California. And it made a huge difference because
Well,
we
is
can
this-
actually run around and not
Is this
die.
the federal government clapping back on us?
The federal-
for
yeah,
trying
that's exactly
to
what
split
it is.
Trump has finally
split into
decided
3
that
states or whatever.
that now there should simply be one policy that affects the entire country, and he basically wants to roll back the standards in California. And among the reasons that they have cited, this is the part that really made me laugh. The Trump administration has argued that these tougher fuel emissions standards, or the tougher smog emissions and higher fuel economy standards that California seeks to put into place are going to kill us.
How so?
That's their argument. Well, number one, they're suggesting that in order to make a vehicle more fuel efficient, they have to continually make it lighter. And if you make it lighter, then, you know, you have older vehicles that are on the road that were, you know, pre these standards that if you get involved in an accident are basically, you know, the law of physics is going to take over. The object with more mass is going to win. You're going to get crushed and crumpled like a soda can. And quite frankly, we are already seeing that with a lot of cars. But over and above that, the Trump administration is arguing also that in order for these tougher standards to be implemented requires a lot of money be invested in research and development. And anything that the auto manufacturers do on the front side, they're going to pass on to the consumer in the form of increased costs on the backside when you go to buy a new car. The Trump administration is contending that basically it's going to make vehicles cost prohibitive, and so rather than buy a new, more fuel-efficient vehicle, people are going to continue to drive the older cars that are less efficient anyway, and as those cars get older, they become even less efficient, and you're right back to where you started from.
Well, California kind of already had a solution for that, and that was a smog check. Because there's a lot of vehicles that you can't drive just because they won't pass.
Yeah, I
the
thought
regulations.
California's solution was to run everybody's vehicle off the road and make them ride bicycles and scooters.
Well, yeah, that's also part of it. But then the problem is you get people who come from other states as tourists, and you know.
Well,
Oh,
come
wait,
on.
then there's that crazy bullet train where if you have a seizure,
Oh,
you'll
don't
get
even
dragged
get me
off.
started.
And,
Well,
you
look
know.
at those Metro bikes that they tried to put into place, and they've already yanked those.
Because who's going to do that? I mean, seriously, you can't. Have you ever tried to take a 5 or 6 bags of groceries home on a bicycle?
No.
That's not.
I have carried an audio mixer and 12 mics on my motorcycle, though. It was difficult.
Yeah, microphones aren't very big.
Well, they
How
are
about
when
the
they're in an
mixer?
anvil case.
How about the mixer?
Yeah, the mixer doesn't necessarily have to be that big anymore either, thanks to
was a
digital
16-channel
technology.
mixer.
But you try taking 2 or 3 gallons of milk in a bottle of orange juice, a box of cereal, and your eggs,
And the mic
and ride that on a
stands.
bicycle and see how well that works out for you.
Wait a second. How many gallons of milk does one person need?
Have you seen the way Chevelle eats?
I don't drink milk. That stuff is nasty.
Have you guys tried those other milks, the soy milks?
Oh,
almond
newsflash. Did you know
milks?
that you can't call it milk anymore? If it doesn't lactate, you can't call it milk.
Ew. So you can't call it soy milk
I'm
anymore?
not
You can't.
touching that.
It's a drink.
I'm totally not
soy
touching
drink? Ew, that sounds even grosser. Soy milk already sounded gross, but
that. If it doesn't lactate, I'm not touching that.
that's gross.
Okay.
It's true.
So anyway,
FDA just changed the way it enforces the
going
standard.
back to the whole emissions standards thing. I mean, what do you think about the idea that the Trump administration is arguing that there should just be one federal standard that applies to all 50 states?
Okay, now here's where my somewhat libertarian side kicks in.
Oh,
You
this ought to
cannot-
be interesting.
You cannot take a rule that works, let's even keep it to Southern California. A rule that works in Riverside probably is not going to work in San Francisco. A rule that flies in San Francisco is probably not going to pass the muster in the Inland Empire because there are different people, different cultures, different ways of doing things.
Okay.
So I don't think it's a good idea. As far as I'm concerned, the Constitution kind of did it right. Constitution did it right.
The Constitution.
Protect the country with the military. Make sure my mail shows up on time. I'm good. That's it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I don't need you to do anything else.
Breaking news.
Uh-oh.
And almond doesn't lactate. FDA to crack down on the use of the word milk.
Seriously, Todd, you made me play the breaking news thing for that?
It says got boobs right there. Why? That is a fact.
That is a fact.
Almonds do not lactate.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, my point is, I don't like the idea of having those kind of broad sweeping regulations, and it's just another.
I'm sorry, did he say
another
broads?
grad. You guys are killing me.
Got boobs.
Oh, okay. This is going to be that episode. So we're going to have to come up with a title for this episode when we repost.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, speaking of things of that nature, I guess it is time for us to catch another break right now. And we'll be back shortly because we definitely have more to discuss. There's just so much.
A lot going on, man.
Yeah, there's just so much fodder for the mill tonight. You are watching
Wait
Around
a minute.
Midnight.
Can we technically call it fodder? I don't know that's...
Or a mill?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's true. The federal government might be cracking down on that next. This is the show that used to be called Around Midnight. Well, it used to be Around Midnight. We're still called Around Midnight. We used to be Around Midnight. I was going to call us around 10 p.m. tonight, too, but I would think that was carrying it too far. Anyway, local boys...
Well, around 10 p.m. is accurate.
Yeah,
it did not go on at 10 p.m.
That's true. That's boy, did we miss that mark. Joe Carbonetta, Chevelle Devine, Todd Fluker, right here. Give us a call. It's not 626. It's 951-356-6882. Sorry, I'm having flashbacks to the old days, and we'll be back right after this. Around Midnight is a production of Mixified Media Solutions. Mixified is a full-service multimedia production company. From boardroom to broadcast, whatever your production needs, Mixified is your solution. Go to Mixified.com, that's Mixafied, or call 951-356-6882. Mixified Media Solutions. All right. Malibu Film Festival's films, charity events, and special programs continue to help the arts in your community, and you can help the Malibu Film Festival by becoming a sponsor. You can check them out at MalibuFilmFestival.com and donate at MalibuFilmFestival.com/donate. Okay, we are back for Friday, August the 3rd. I am Joe Carbonetta. I'm joined by Chevelle Devine and Todd Fluker, the usual cast of characters right here on Around Midnight. And we are live, and I'm going to give the number again just so I can get it right this time. 951-356-6882. That is the number to call if you want your voice to be on the air with us tonight.
It's hot in here.
Yes, it is. Because someday they'll fix that air conditioning.
No, they won't.
You don't think so?
No.
We're not that
We need
not
new
that high
gigs.
quality.
They.
You know what we need to do is start a GoFundMe page to get the air conditioning fixed in our studio. Do you think we could do that? Can we set up a GoFundMe page
Oh,
for that?
man, I'm so mad at GoFundMe these days. Everybody's trying to GoFund everything.
So why aren't we getting a piece of that action?
My favorite band is trying to GoFundMe on their new album, and I'm like, can I just buy the album when you make it?
That's essentially what GoFundMe is pre-ordering. De La Soul did the same
Yeah,
thing, and it was
except
actually very
it's like
successful. They had a
crazy
Kickstarter
expensive.
campaign.
Yeah, the Aquabats are trying to GoFund their next album / season of their kids' TV show. And to get the album, like, there's so many levels of rewards. Like, it's like $30, you get a high five, a virtual high five from the Bat Commander. And then you get $50 and you get like a t-shirt. But then to actually get the album you are funding, you have to give at least like $100 and some odd bucks.
Who's going to pay that kind of money for an album?
And
Well,
that's what
actually,
I'm saying.
that's part of the situation with the record industry, because you're talking about De La Soul, which is like one of those iconic
Nobody was
hip-hop
talking
groups.
about De La
Yeah,
Soul.
I'm saying, but
I was
my
talking
point is
about
when
air
you-
conditioning. What
when
the
you
heck
have a group
happened here?
when you're talking about a group that's that big that has to resort to GoFundMe to get something produced because the labels are just not doing it anymore. Labels don't take and do A&R anymore. They want completed albums when you walk in. They just want to do the distribution. So you have to basically bootstrap all of your own productions these days.
Okay. How does that get us air conditioning?
We're gonna have to bootstrap it. And by bootstrap, I mean you need to do it.
I think we need to create a GoFundMe page. Still, I mean, what if we could get a whole $5? We could at least buy some ice cubes or something, right?
Ice cubes for the swamp.
I'm just
Swamp
saying.
cooler.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so let's see. What else can we talk about? Oh, another interesting topic that was in the news today. And I'm just gonna throw this one out to see what the panel has to say about this. They have closed the books on the Las Vegas shooting. That what is basically the worst mass shooting in U.S. history out there near the MGM. And we talked about this last week because the MGM was now suing the victims to try and avoid financial liability. Well, the police have closed the book on the case, and they know the who, the how, and the what, but they have basically said they don't know the why. And they're closing up the case and leaving that a big question. The best solution that they could come up with for why this guy did this, they've pretty much ruled out terrorism because they can't find any connections to that, was that he had lost a whole bunch of money in Vegas and he was angry at the casinos. And this was the reason that he went out and shot people up, but they're not even calling that the official reason. It's just some mumbling under, below the table.
You know what this is, man? This is fodder for the conspiracy theorists.
Did you just say fodder again? I thought you said we couldn't
I sure
say
did.
that.
I sure did. Are we allowed to call them conspiracy theorists?
I don't know. Maybe. Hey, it's at the fake newsists.
No, that's the real news.
Oh, okay. Anyway, all right. So go ahead. You were saying.
Because I think we're starting to see a lot of the results of some of the social programming that has been going on from covert ops, and I think a lot of these things are just sleepers being triggered.
Wait, you are actually going with the idea that this was a terrorist act?
I think it was a domestic assault in order to push forward a specific agenda. I have no proof of that.
And the agenda would be
control. Make people terrified, and then they'll surrender their guns. Nobody should have guns.
People should know.
I thought you were talking about the Janet Jackson song.
The terrorists should know that that doesn't work in American society. It tends to just piss us off, and then we go looking to pick a fight somewhere.
No. It used to piss us off, because now, again, this goes back to generational differences, like the immigration thing. Back in the 40s, it's like, yeah, we're going to come here to America, and we're going to, everybody's going to be happy, and welcome to the company. Of course, then we locked a bunch of them up in Japanese internment camps in California.
Don't forget the Italian Americans got the same treatment. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, they weren't getting it in California. There's more on the East Coast. The same thing is going to happen. The current generation, they don't feel that way. It's like everything's okay. We all just need to hug, and everything's going to be all right. You can feel whatever you want to feel. And
unless you get sick on the subway, then we're just going to drag you off because we want to get home.
Somebody from the older generation.
Let's talk it out, guys.
I thought that's what we were doing on this show.
Tell me how that makes you feel.
It's making Chevelle's stomach bubbly.
You want some
I don't
Ritalin?
have feelings. Oh, that sounds good.
Some Xanax?
Oh yeah, what's that?
Wait. I thought it wasn't. Isn't marijuana legal now? Why are you trying to pass off all of these expensive drugs when you could get the stuff for
that's how
you
make
grow it in
money.
your backyard?
What?
That's how you make money, right? Yes.
What do you work for, Merck or something?
Drugs.
Huh. There was something that happened with the pharmaceutical companies. Anyway, yeah, so I don't know, man. I think that maybe they know more than they're willing to say. I think they know more about this guy than is coming out.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
But the more they dig, the dirtier it gets, kind of like maybe Russia's involved. Just saying.
Good luck making that one stick.
Just saying.
Even I don't believe that one. All right.
Yeah,
so
he could barely have a straight face saying it. He's like, maybe Russia?
All right.
Just saying.
Last on tonight's docket, 8 other states have now joined California in attempting to sue the federal government to get them to stop with this idea of allowing these 3D gun plans to be made available. So it's now Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Oregon, Maryland, New York, And the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C. itself, has joined in the fight to stop the Trump administration from allowing this stuff to be put out on the internet. They've joined California in this suit.
Hold on. Why are we saying that the Trump administration are the ones allowing this to happen?
Because they are the ones.
It's not like they're like, oh, okay, everybody, here's the documents, go and print them. That's not how this works. They are twisting this story so that you have yet another reason to be pissed at Trump. That's not how this works. Somebody found a way to do this. They release it into the wild, and they want Trump to do what they want him to do, but he won't do it, so they're getting pissed, and they're blaming him. You don't blame somebody for not doing what you want them to do. If they do something wrong, that's something you can hold them accountable for.
You do that all the time.
I'm not the president of the United States. I'm not a congressperson.
Interestingly,
think about this. How do I do that? I don't think I do that. I get mad if you don't do what I want you to do.
I don't think I do that. Do I do that?
What do you think about that?
Did I do that? Anyway, interestingly enough, I don't see this going well for California or any other state. I think if this, and this probably will get litigated all the way to the Supreme Court, but it's freedom of information. It's free speech is what it is.
Cookbook, man.
It is.
Who would have guessed the NRA is pro-guns?
I mean, yeah, we had this information. 35, 40 years ago, the Anarchist Cookbook, The Poor Man's James Bond. Look up any of those books. I'm sure they're available on the internet. They tell you how to make all kinds of nasty things.
And people do.
Now there were
or you can just go to prison. Learn it for free.
You cannot get these books in print anymore unless you can find an old copy, because most companies that print books refused to print them. Because they didn't want the liability. I can understand that, and I mean that's totally their
honestly,
right. But the government didn't tell them they had to stop printing them.
It should be decided.
Yeah,
it should be decided by the free market.
Now, on the other hand, the state of California wants to take this even further. They're not only suing the federal government to stop the plans from getting out there.
Just go to BarnesandNoble.com. You can get yourself a copy.
Assuming that they do.
Is it used?
Assuming that it does get out there, the state of California wants to make it a misdemeanor for you to possess that information.
The documents.
New,
have those documents.
New and used. So there are new copies.
Wow. Interesting. Okay, so California wants to make it a misdemeanor for you to possess those plans and a felony for you to be in possession of one of these plastic weapons. In other words, if you get your hands on the plans and actually make one, they want to turn that into a felony.
I agree with Danielle. She says, why does Trump get so much airplay? Ugh. Seriously.
You actually vocalized the ugh. I like that.
That is the problem with today. And I keep seeing people posting about this, that Trump is literally just...
he doesn't have to do anything.
He's Wizard of Ozing it up.
I'm sorry, what?
He's like,
he's
has
the man
all the
behind the
smoke
curtain.
and mirrors. Yeah, he's creating all this havoc, all this crap going on, and he's tweeting all this stuff every time you think, some real news is going to start poking out.
So I think Trump is actually a puppet of the Russians. He's Putin's puppet.
Oh, have mercy.
I mean, it's not true.
I think that's really what it is. I think the Russians did conspire to help Trump get into office with the intention of actually dividing us from the inside out.
They don't have to. We're eating ourselves from the inside out anyway. It happens with every empire, and our time is due.
Wow.
How dare
I bet those guys in the unmarked van are going to be hanging out in front of your house tonight.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem. The fact that they have guys with unmarked vans hanging out in front of people's houses is a part of the problem.
That's a Trump thing.
I think I would want people to be monitoring someone that says, yeah, I think people should have all the guns they want. Yeah, it's time for this behemoth called America to fall.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
It might be worth looking into that guy.
Well,
I can't argue that. I've got nothing on that.
I have to say,
that's probably true.
On this, on this whole argument here, I completely disagree with California on the idea of blocking this information from being made available. On the other hand, I actually am with them on the idea of making it a felony to be in possession of one of these things because there's no serial numbers on it. They're not traceable. Somebody could make a gun, commit a crime, and nobody would ever know where it came from.
Who cares? If there's a serial number,
I care when
if
when they break in my house.
If you find a person who has one of these weapons and they killed somebody, the crime isn't that they had the weapon. The crime is that they killed somebody. I don't care what you kill somebody with.
But the problem is you won't be able to figure out who did it.
If you don't know who did it, it's not going to be because there's no serial number on it. They steal guns all the time. You've got perfectly legal guns and illegal guns out there on the streets all the time. Some being sold by the ATF. I don't think we all forgot about that. So it's not a matter of being able to trace a serial number. Any criminal worth their salt is not going to go down a Walmart, buy a shotgun, and go rob a liquor store.
And yet, California also is trying to push through a law that is going to basically stamp all the bullets with serial numbers so that they can be traced to the gun that fired them.
You can't unless
Wait,
you
how can
only
it
sell
trace it to
bullets
the
with
gun?
a gun.
It has
You
to do
can't
with
that.
the new weapons actually have something inside them that will stamp this serial number.
You can't on what, the shell?
Interesting.
I guess so. Yeah, on the shell
I
casing.
suppose you could do that. I don't know. I honestly, I don't
And
see
the
the point.
NRA
This is- I have
argued
a
that
problem
this
with
was a violation of your Second Amendment rights, and they just lost that in court.
I have a problem with
The NRA doesn't
that
like
again
you
is
being
another
tracked.
situation where I think the market can decide. I have a problem with, because this is almost the same as like those enhancement laws where you get a gang enhancement, you get a hate crime enhancement. Crime is crime. You don't need an enhancement. If you can't convict the person of the crime they committed, then you need to reevaluate your court system. You need to reevaluate your law enforcement. Because if a person kills somebody and you know this person killed that person and you've got evidence that supports that, why do you need all the enhancements? We already have laws on the books that say in California, the penalty for death is death. You murder somebody, you're supposed to die. We have a death penalty here.
but
they haven't exercised it, but we have it.
Think about this.
So exercise the law.
Think about this scenario where you have a serial killer who is going around killing random people, and you have no way to tie him together because he's no longer using the same weapon to commit each crime, and you can't tie the crimes together. So you don't even know
making
that it's a
printed
serial
gun
killer
illegal
going out.
is going to be the problem.
Well, it certainly is going to contribute to the problem.
Oh, come on, man. Come on. If you don't know, then by virtue of the fact that you don't know how they're doing it is the problem.
So you're all right with him printing up weapons?
I'm not all right with people printing them up. I just don't think that we need to get. This is literally thought control.
I'm not following you on this
man. They're trying to. This is not a real issue as far as I'm concerned.
We are so totally going to have to follow this up next Friday night because we are out of time. In fact, we've gone over this evening, and our producers are kind of like screaming
Just
at us right now.
enforce the current law.
All
That's
right,
all you gotta
we're
do.
going. Jeez, wow, man, they're really getting angry over there. They're gonna
Just enforce the current law.
Oh, see, look, they're breaking more glasses.
We got to throw that. I am the law. We got to throw that one in.
We don't have that one.
Yeah, you got to get that one. I'm above the law.
Wait, how about this one?
You use that one all the time. We
Yeah,
need to-
that's true. We do. We need another one. Anyway, all right.
Yeah, more Judge Dredd drops is always a good thing.
Okay, we'll have to look for those. This has been Around Midnight, Around 10, and I'm Joe Carbonetta for Todd Fluker, Chevelle Devine, and everybody at Mixified Media Solutions. Thanks for watching tonight. You have a great Friday night. Stay safe out there. Please don't drink and drive. Above all, stay Mixified.
Bye, Felicia.
Around Midnight is a production of Mixified Media Solutions. Mixified is a full-service multimedia production company. From boardroom to broadcast, whatever your production needs, Mixified is your solution. Go to Mixified.com, that's MIXAFIED, or call 951-356-6882. Mixified Media Solutions.